Thank you, Kate, and hi, everybody, and welcome to Edmonton on a late September Saturday afternoon, the second meeting of the season between the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Edmonton Elks. Getting late, playoffs getting closer, Glenn Suter, and these two teams couldn't be facing more different scenarios. I mean, Edmonton feels they have to run the table. They're treating this like a must-win game to have any hope. Saskatchewan's already clinched a spot, led by their quarterback, Trevor Harris. They're coming off a loss and a bye, but still #1 team in the CFL.
Yeah, much-needed rest for Trevor Harris at 38 years old, and the starter for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who was 9-3 on the season. And the Riders led the Riders to a win versus Edmonton the last time these two teams played. Harris completed 76% of his passes in that one. This is start number 83 for Cody Fajardo. He has an overall win-loss record of 47-34-1, but has never registered a win as a starter against his old team, the Riders.
Well, it's been a tough first season for Mark Killam as Elks head coach, coming off heartbreaking losses in Toronto and Hamilton the past 2 weeks, trying to keep the hope for his team. Corey Mace, his Riders coming off the bye, as mentioned, after losing to Montreal 2 weeks ago at home, but they've still clinched that playoff spot. They can all but wrap up a home playoff date with a win today, just about. And we're about to get underway too, and on the toss, it was the Riders winning. They deferred, so they will kick off with Brett Lothar as Edmonton will get the ball first. Saturday afternoon in Edmonton and underway to close out week 17 of the CFL. Javon Leake on the return, and he gets it up across the 45 for Cody Fajardo to come on now. His first game as Elks starting quarterback was against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, his old team, in week 8.
Yeah, week 8 versus Saskatchewan. Highest yardage total of 2025 for Cody Fajardo in that one. Over 340 yards, 2 touchdowns, did not throw an interception, and took advantage of the deep ball. Got him behind coverage a couple of times in that game.
They were down heading to the fourth quarter, though. They scored 14 unanswered points and ended up losing by only 3. It was a close one at Mosaic for Edmonton. That's been the story for the Elks, though. It's getting close, but not wrapping up and winning those games. Well, on that hitch to Justin Rankin, who's the top receiver and the top running back for the Edmonton Elks.
Take a look at the rest of the offense for the Elks. Carter O'Donnell up front, 3rd straight start for him at right guard, and the coaches are real happy with what they see. A little bit of nastiness in O'Donnell out of the University of Alberta. And there is Justin Rankin. I think Gordon Maksimic will be the first to say if Justin Rankin has a big game, we have a really good chance to win. That's their best player on offense.
And he got about a foot. It's a 2nd and long after that reception by Rankin. So for Fajardo now, further downfield, and it's caught across midfield and right around first down territory too. That is Curly Gittens Jr., who had a touchdown reception last week in Hamilton, a gain of 11.
Get that trips to the field, taking a look at the hot reads, and you know, most teams in the early going, first drives out defensively, go with a zone look, try and get a feel for the game, drop into those zones, and then rally to make the tackle. Thurman and Rivas involved in that one.
Down to the Rider 52, opening possession. Elks in Saskatchewan, and handing off its Rankin again, and Haba Baldonado coming in. It's been a great season for Baldonado, one of the global players. Takes Rankin down, and it's a 2nd and long coming up again. Yeah,
Shane Ray is out, Rod, so Haba Baldonado gets a chance to actually start. He's been great in the rotation for the D-line, but he gets a start tonight. Jameer Thurman leads the team in tackles, no surprise there. Him against Rankin will be an interesting matchup. And they get Marcus Sayles back, and if you think back 2 weeks ago to Montreal, the corners down and backups in, Sayles was missed.
Yeah, McLeod Bethel-Thompson really taking advantage, especially with Tyson Philpott, of the change in the corner with the Rider D. 2nd and long. Fajardo's flushed out. Being chased. Wants to take off. Coming in was Sayles and hit Fajardo, who's looks like he's limping a little bit. Heading back to the huddle, but a 3rd down after a gain of 4 coming off. So yes, heading back to the sideline.
You have to watch that.
Yeah, Fajardo, yeah. Looks like he's in a lot of discomfort now.
You're looking for the training staff. He's just trying to walk off that hit from Marcus Sayles. Looked like it was the arm across the legs and maybe hyperextended his knee a little bit.
Well, Fajardo, as mentioned, got his first start with the Elks against the Riders in Week 8. Before that, of course, it had been Trey Ford. The backup in this game, and the punt from Jake Julian, recently returning. And we'll pick up what would be a Rouge even a few years from now. They got the lead. That part of the Rouge will stay. Put on the board by Julian. Trevor Harris getting ready for the Riders' opening possession. This week, the CFL is recognizing the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, which is this coming Tuesday. And Orange Shirt Day is led by Indigenous communities to raise awareness about the impacts of residential schools on children. Teams, again, before this one too, the Elks and Riders wearing orange practice jerseys. A reminder on this day that every child matters, to honor the day here at Commonwealth as well.
See, you have your orange.
Got some orange in my tie and my pockets. Well. You've got some as well.
Absolutely.
Starting at the 40, and a 1-0 lead on a Rouge by the Edmonton Elks, and that is Tommy Neal on the reception and a short gain for Saskatchewan.
So Trevor Harris versus Edmonton in his career is 8-5. And this year, I mentioned, missed the one start. Jake Mayer managed a very good game against BC and got the win when he got that one start. Trevor Harris 9-3 on the season, 19-9 as the starter for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and admitted to us that the bye came at a good time in the season for him to rest the body a little bit.
Feeling good overall, but yeah, he did talk about that. Nice to have a little break as you get in the final bit of the season. Harris throwing in a 2nd and long. That is caught by Samuel Emelis, who's playing in only his 5th game this season. He hasn't played since Week 8 against the Edmonton Elks after suffering a knee injury. Yeah,
back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons for Samuel Emelis. So you think Trevor Harris happy to have him back? A guy that can get in behind coverage in a heartbeat, but he's great football IQ, so he can find the spots in the zone as well. 6 games missed with that knee. See how he does in the first game back.
Well, he had played the first 2 games and suffered a foot injury. Missed a few weeks and then came back, played a couple more, and he's been out since then, late July. 1st and 10. Harris throwing to the left, intercepted, and then it's coughed up. So it goes into the Elks' hands. It was Kenneth Logan Jr. with the pick, but then he gets hit from behind, and then it is Daniel Johnson picking up the loose ball for Saskatchewan. So a net gain for the Roughriders.
Well, this is a great example of never stopping on a play. No matter where you're playing, no matter what position you're playing, keep hustling, keep running to the ball. You never know. Logan makes a nice interception dropping underneath coverage, but because Daniel Johnson kept with the play, kept hustling, kept coming over there trying to get the tackle, he's in the right spot at the right time to maintain possession.
A Joe hitting him from behind after the Logan pick, and yet Daniel Johnson coming up the ball. So this is like a brand new possession now after 2 turnovers, and it's A.J. Ouellette with his first carry now starting in the Elk zone.
There is Daniel Johnson, and I actually highlighted him before he got the fumble recovery. So big play for him out of the gate. There's Sam Emelis back in the lineup, and Joe's been a couple of games now returning from his NFL tryout, so we'll see what that Canadian contingent can do over on that right side for Mark Mueller, the offensive coordinator.
6 yards for A.J. Ouellette, 2nd and 4 for Harris and the Saskatchewan Roughriders at the 47 of the Elks. With time, over the middle, intercepted. He's picked off again. It's Brock Mogensen, the middle linebacker. So that is 2 interceptions in what is essentially the same possession for Trevor Harris, and this time the Elks do hang on to it, benefiting from the turnover. Harris, Brock Mogensen has the interception. Edmonton football.
Textbook drop for Brock Mogensen, who's going to drop and out of the sight line of Trevor Harris initially and then open up back into the middle right where he's trying to fit it in. This is reading the quarterback's throwing motion, looking at the lead shoulder and reacting accordingly. That's an outstanding drop underneath coverage.
Brock Mogensen, first year out of South Dakota. Pressure coming in. Baldonado right on Cody Fajardo and takes him down for a huge loss back at the Edmonton 30.
I'll tell you what, Baldonado getting his start is taking full advantage, and he's going to go B-gap between the guard and the tackle with Rivas, C.J. Rivas on the outside, occupying Ivy at the left tackle spot. Baldonado goes in the B-gap and has a straight run to Cody Fajardo.
Haba Baldonado from Italy, played his college ball at Pitt with his third sack of the season here for the Riders, and a 2nd and 20. Fajardo. They're trying to run a screen to Rankin, tried to turn it up with Sales bearing down. He just can't hang on to the football, and just like that, 3rd down after the pick, and Edmonton will have to punt it away.
And noticed, this is obviously going to be an emotional game for the Edmonton Elks. I mean, for a couple of reasons. One, with the news of Larry Thompson of late, the owner, but also, you know, this position they're in the playoffs, as you mentioned off the top, that, you know, it's sort of must win the rest of the way for the Elks. And sometimes that emotion will catch up to you. It looks like they may be squeezing the stick a little harder tonight. Just relax, stay focused, and channel that energy.
Julian's 2nd punt. Last one went for a single point. This one down inside the 30. Sean Bain back in the lineup for the Riders. Had been their leading receiver in 2023 after a 49-yard punt. Bain with his first play in over a year for Saskatchewan. Sam Emelis, another one, back in that Rider lineup as they look to improve to 11-3. The Riders have enjoyed depth in the receiving corps with all the injuries, but certainly glad to have this guy back in the lineup. Samuel Emelis, last game was against the Elks back in Week 8 in late July. Had a good game before he suffered a knee injury, Suits, and it's his first game back today.
Yeah, that's what I mean about blowing the top off the defense. He can do it in a hurry. He only really played 4 full games this year, and 2 of them were over 100 yards. That was one of them against Edmonton in Week 8.
Back to Trevor Harris. Quick handoff to A.J. Ouellette, working his way right side, and a little bit of power. A good pickup of about 5 yards. We take a look at that Elks defense are up against.
Well, this is what's interesting. 6 of the front 7 guys are different from what started the season. It was going to be Jared Brinkman in the middle. Brinkman is actually going to be out for this one, and Brandon Barlow, the only guy that is remaining in it. Joel DeBlanco did not start at linebacker at the beginning of the year. He is now and playing well. And J.J. Ross has got back-to-back games with interceptions, and he wasn't starting at the beginning of the year at corner. It was Bynum.
They gave Ouellette 3 yards. 2nd down and 7 at the 41. It is caught. That's Keyshawn Johnson with his first catch of the game, and good work after the catch to get first down yardage up near the Rider 50.
Yeah, after back-to-back interceptions, one that they got back, the other they didn't. The Riders and Trevor Harris, I'm sure, are going to lock it down a little bit more here.
Keyshawn Johnson approaching 1,000 yards on the season, coming in with 70 catches, 969 yards, so he's getting closer. The handoff to Ouellette again on first down, trying to pull his way towards midfield.
Yeah, that's what you do, and it's back-to-back first downs for A.J. Ouellette to get the ball and get a touch. Settle down the offensive line, settle down quarterback and receivers, even the veteran quarterbacks, get that run game going, more manageable 2nd down situations as we talk about all the time. And A.J. Ouellette, as you mentioned, closing in on a 1,000-yard season.
Yeah, he came in at 942, so he's close to 1,000. Keyshawn Johnson close to 1,000 receiving. Ouellette in his 2nd year with the Riders had over 1,000 in 2023 as a member of the Toronto Argonauts. So looking for that mark again to do it today. Close to midfield in the 2nd down and 6. Harris, lots of time, and finds a Joe. And a first down again for Saskatchewan. Is taken down by Tyrell Ford, but a recent addition back from the National Football League.
Real good clear out route, run on the inside by Tommy Neal, and that opens up the middle for a Joe. And he's due to have a big game. back from his tryout with the Colts. Sort of eased into the lineup right away. Used a little bit, got him on some fly sweeps, got him the ball a couple of times. They feed off that entire sideline will feed off the energy of a JoJo.
Yeah, lots of that. 8 catches, 95 yards 2 weeks ago in that loss to Montreal. So first down. This time it's Mario Anderson, the other running back for Saskatchewan. Had a very productive game, the Labor Day game, earlier this month against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Saskatchewan from the top of the heap looking down in the standings. You mentioned have a playoff spot, but still have to do a little bit of work to lock down home field and certainly the bye to the final.
Yeah. But even with, I mean, if they can win today, even with the Bombers and BC winning this week, you got to consider Calgary, of course, even with the loss, they are still the closest because they have one game in hand. Riders getting close. It's Dante Myers' first catch going up. And J.J. Rawson hauling that one down. Another one of the, you talk about the depth suits of the Rider receiving corps with all the injuries they've been dealing with. But, you know, Johnson, Myers has had an excellent year.
Well, they have an excellent receiver room. I mean, you know, great depth there when Sam Emlis has missed all the games he's missed and comes back at the most important time of the year. That's a big boost for them. But Myers and Keyshawn Johnson have been the consistent guys from start to finish, both, you know, looking at 1,000-yard seasons.
He got close. Third and less than a yard away. It's Tommy Stevens' time. As the big quarterback comes in, the short yardage specialist. He goes wide. Gets the first down. Little stiff arm there, too. And Cordell Jackson, get out of my way. But he goes down, but easily has enough. Big Tommy Stevens to pick up that Rider first down.
Yeah, I wonder what he saw on the edge that he felt like, well, it looks like it's designed because he's got a pulling offensive lineman around to seal the edge. And then it's a one-on-one with Cordell Jackson. Cordell Jackson is 5'10", 185. Tommy Stevens comes in at 6'4", 245. That's not right, man. Yeah, it's not right.
Cordell giving away a few pounds there, but hung in there with Big Tommy. First down Riders, 25-yard line of Edmonton. 1-0. Elks, the toss left. Ouellette puts his head down, picks up a few more yards down to about the 22, 23-yard line. Second down coming up for the Riders.
Boy, this has been a run on first down drive. I think every single time they got the new set of downs, they've gone to A.J. Ouellette running the ball on first down.
He now has 4 carries for 16 yards. Another 2nd and 7 coming up. This is the 9th play of this drive for Saskatchewan.
Just outside of the red zone.
From the 22. And the 2nd and 7. Harris. It's caught. Johnson has it. Ball comes out. And the Elks have it. It's Kenneth Logan. Logan's the one that had the interception and then fumbled it right after. This time, that ball is his. That ball is Edmonton's after the fumble on that catch by Keyshawn Johnson, which was near another Saskatchewan first down. Instead, it's another Rider turnover as the Elks take over with their 1-0 lead in the CFL on TSN. This is an emotional game for the Edmonton Elks, with news coming 2 days ago with the passing of their owner, Larry Thompson, in a tribute before the game. With more, let's head down to the sideline and join Tom Gazzola.
The passing rod of Larry Thompson shook the green and gold, obviously, when it was announced Thursday evening. Now, to honor the team's owner, you're going to see black lapel pins, a black ribbon that the staff and the coaches are wearing on the sidelines today. You're also going to see the players wearing a decal on their helmets, and the logo that the players are wearing on the helmets also appears on the field. Now, Thompson really endeared himself to the Elks fan base pretty early in his tenure when he zigged instead of zagged infamously into the Calgary Stampeders bench during the Labor Day rematch. That is spurred on a commercial break contest that we'll see in a little bit here. And then as well as that going forward, guys, Larry Thompson's wife, Deb, will continue on as owner, seeing through the vision and dream of raising this franchise back to prominence in the CFL.
Thank you for that, Tom. That's a run by Justin Rankin for first down. But I remember it was at that game against Calgary last year. Dave Dickinson was not happy when Larry Thompson, who said it was an accident, but had a subtle grin on his face as he took that truck in close to the Stampeders bench. What a moment that was.
What a great moment. The family watching on and saw the tribute before the game. And I remember the fire truck and just, a lifelong fan.
Yeah.
And that's what's so incredibly sad about, his passing, is that he had this chance to live out his dream, talked about it, seen it on so many of the videos now.
It had only been a little more than a year.
Just over a year. And he got to enjoy it. But our condolences to the family and friends and the entire football community. And it's a packed house tonight.
Absolutely.
Honoring Larry Thompson.
Benjamin Victor was on the receiving end there for another first down, so they're up across the 40 now after the turnover for the Elks, and completing it to Victor again, one of the new Elks in the receiving corps this year, and 9 more yards for Edmonton on the move, and no doubt thinking of Larry Thompson coming into this game.
Yeah, and I'm seeing an emotional lift. I mean, it's going to be an emotional game, both highs and lows for the Elks, but you can see that they're playing with great passion. That's the win one for Larry Thompson, I'm sure, is on their minds, and trying to stay focused, especially on offense when it's all about timing and making sure everyone is exactly where they need to be at the right times. But the defense has already created a couple of turnovers. You see they're got some jump in their step.
Cole Snyder in short yardage. This drive starting after the turnover, the fumble by Keyshawn Johnson, and they're working it up near midfield. Short yardage quarterback Snyder in to move the sticks in the last play of the first quarter, a quarter that has produced, but of all weeks to say this, a rouge, single point. That's some turnovers too in this one so far, back and forth. Edmonton football. The second quarter about to begin here at Commonwealth. Not a lot of scoring through the first quarter between the Riders and Elks. Just that single point off the foot of Jake Julian, but some interesting play, especially by defense, and the turnovers we've seen so far.
Yeah, when you look at the Edmonton Elks, for a couple of reasons, we talked about Larry Thompson's passing, but also the standings and where they are, in the race, looking up, trying to keep their playoff hopes alive, and you see that sense of urgency on defense. And now, on offense, what they're going to need to do is just channel that, channel it, maintain concentration. For the record, after the last couple of really close losses for the Elks, Mark Killam told us that he is going to be very calm on the sideline throughout this game.
He is known for being quite animated and passionate, and wants that passion to stay with his team despite their situation right now, trying to barely hang in the playoff race. The throw by Fajardo to an open receiver. It's Gittins. Barely. Gittins has it down close to the Saskatchewan 25. Again, a drive that started back in their own zone after the latest Rider turnover.
Yeah, Curly Gittins is going to be sort of singled out, and it's a route that's going to take a little bit of time because he's going from one hash. He's going from one hash all the way across to the other.
And down to the 27, first down, quickly to the left, and it's dropped. Keon Julian Grant, a little bit behind him, got turned around, and Julian Grant can't hang on to that one. We get a second down coming up here for Edmonton.
And this is what I mean about channeling. This is the offense now channeling. Just precision routes, be right at the depth you need to be at, because the depth is coordinated with the drop of the quarterback. 5-step drop, quick drop, 7-step drop. It's all coordinated with the depth of the routes and the timing of the throws.
So a second and 10, the Rider 27. Edmonton up a point, looking for pressure coming in. And it's Mike Rose, and the ball did come out. It looked like after Fajardo went down, but Rose picking up the sack, his 5th of the season for the first-year Rider. Of course, started his career with the Calgary Stampeders.
Boy, it's nice when a defensive coordinator can basically take his interior defensive tackles and move them outside like he does with Mike Rose or Micah Johnson, and take his defensive ends and move them back inside and just make it difficult for the offensive line to count numbers in blocking schemes.
100th career game for Mike Rose. Field goal try now for Vincent Blanchard. Further out from 47 yards away. And it is good. So the Elks off the turnover do get some points to show for it, despite the sack from Mike Rose that pushed them back a little further. Fajardo did drive them down the field after the turnover, though. It's a 4-0 Edmonton lead. Don't miss the new crime thriller from the creator of Mayor of Easttown, Task, an HBO original series starring Emmy winner Mark Ruffalo. That is now streaming, and it is only on Crave. Back here at Commonwealth, Rod Smith, Glenn Suter, Tom Gazzola with you down on the sidelines. Saskatchewan now down 4 points after that field goal, the 47-yarder by Blanchard, and it's A.J. Ouellette, the ball carrier there. Gain of 3 yards. Coming in is Kenny Logan Jr.
Asked Mark Killam about playing against the Saskatchewan offense, and his answer was interesting out of the gate, which was, we've told the defensive line that knockdowns at the line of scrimmage are as important in this particular game as sacks. And that's because of how Trevor Harris can operate an offense. He's so quick to recognize defenses, quick to get it out of his hands, so it's hard to get home on him.
2nd and 7 from the 43. Harris to the right. Deeper ball. Nobody there. Down around the Edmonton 40. That falls incomplete, and we get a 3rd down coming up here for Saskatchewan.
Joel DeBlanco and the linebacking core for Edmonton are getting depth in their drops. We've seen 2 interceptions already. Kenneth Logan had one. Mogensen had one. And DeBlanco way deep on that throw to the inside on Keyshawn Johnson. Trevor Harris is going to have to take a couple of those under routes, those short crossers, to pull the linebackers closer to the line of scrimmage.
So Jesse Mirko, the new punter, replacing Joe Couch in his CFL debut from the Pro Kick Academy in Australia, and back for it on that punt. First one for the Riders of the day, and on the bounce, Javon Leake takes it at the 21. 46-yard punt. Not a bad return here across the 35 for Leake. Jaden Dahlke and company there to take him down, but Cody Fajardo and the Edmonton Elks heading back on the field there with Justin Rankin, and what a story he's been this year for Edmonton's offense.
Take a look at the yards from scrimmage overall. He ranks 3rd. Coming into tonight's game, he is 3rd and has a lot of time to add to that total. And again, you mentioned leading the team receiving yards, leading the team in rushing. Not sure if that's a good thing. Tells you a little something about Rankin.
It sure does. Well, that's Javon Leake, and the alternate in the running game for Edmonton. But we were at the game in Hamilton, the Hall of Fame game last week, when those are receiving yards. That short screen he took last week, and then he found 72 yards for a touchdown. Which
quarterbacks love, by the way.
Yeah, it adds to their stats
little
too.
Swing throw and get 80 yards. But his biggest game, Rankin, was that Calgary rematch. I mean, over 200 yards rushing in that one.
Yeah, including 90. A run from right up the middle for a touchdown against the Stampeders here. So Leake in the backfield. Now more pressure on Fajardo, who can't get rid of it. This time it's Caleb Sanders. And that defensive line of Saskatchewan, not just the starters, but the rotational players too, known for bringing the heat. That's the 2nd sack of the season for Sanders.
Well, that's 3 on the night. The last time these 2 teams played, Saskatchewan had 8 sacks that game.
They're now at 11 and counting. So the one thing that the Elks are going to have to do at halftime is get in there and talk about protections.
Well, you got Malik Carney, Micah Johnson, Mike Rose, Haba Baldonado in with the injury to Shane Ray, and then you get a sack there by Caleb Sanders. A 59-yard punt due by Julian down to the 20, and that's Sean Bain, as mentioned, his first game in a year, handling the returns with the injury to Mario Alford for Saskatchewan. They have the ball. They're down by 4 in Edmonton, Alberta on a Saturday. The Elks are back home after 2 heartbreaking games in Ontario. First this, Liram Hairolau in Toronto, and a walk-off field goal for the Argos. And then for Mark Killam, didn't get any better in Hamilton. They had the lead, but no, the Ticats win in a walk-off too. Let's go back to Tom.
Rod, the Elks head coach noticed and admitted there was some dejection in his group after those 2 last-second losses in Toronto and Hamilton. And he said the focus this week going in for the players was highlighting the good things that they did well in those games to kind of show them that the effort wasn't in vain. Now, he noticed the response from the players was good. He pointed out high energy and a good sense of urgency, and so far it's translated a bit on the field tonight.
Yeah, he said he wants to control his own emotions, Tom. He is an emotional guy, but emotion isn't just negative. He wants to keep them pumped up and positive and believing, because they have played well, accentuate, as Tom said, what they have done well.
Really have. And you take a look at, you go on the road all the way back east and have a chance and have played well against 2 good defenses, 2 good teams. And I talking to Mark Killam and Cody Fajardo this week, they both kind of said the same thing, which is our team has learned how to compete with all the good teams in the league. We know we can stay with them. Now we got to learn how to finish.
That's the thing. We get movement at the line too. Looks like offside for Edmonton. Jonathan Kongbo took a jump, and Trevor Harris took off, and Jalen Garnes coming in just as Harris was sliding, and Harris did take a hit, and a flag does come out, of course, earlier with the movement at the line after a 9-yard pickup.
Yeah, I think that was at the line. That was a early movement by offense or D. These quarterbacks got to get down earlier than that.
Edmonton number 3. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a first down.
And this might be a great example of a play that you can send the message to every quarterback in the league. Look, you got to get down earlier than this. If you're gonna slide and surrender, which is admirable now. Your teammates will love you for it, because you're going to line up and play another play. Now, thank goodness Trevor didn't get hurt on that, but he's got to get down earlier. All the quarterbacks in the league got to do that.
Certainly a concerning sight, though, for Corey Mays to see his veteran quarterback take a hit like that. Sliding down a little bit late. Pump fake in this play. And it's A.J. Ouellette. First down, Saskatchewan. Ouellette after the carry, and a good pickup close to midfield.
Boy, it's fun to watch A.J. Ouellette when he gets a little head of steam, isn't it? It's one thing when he's running hard between the tackles and fighting off linebackers, but he gets this out in the flat, and then watch him just start rolling down that sideline. You just kind of like road grading to find contact.
There's a train coming.
Well, very, very different than what we just talked about with the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
You get out there with the quarterbacks, get down, your teammates will love you because you're back in the huddle on the next play. Running backs, not the same thing.
You're not going to see Ouellette slide.
No, they're searching for contact.
Started his career with the Argos, mentioned, got over 1,000 there, and he's close to it here with Saskatchewan. Could happen any time now with another carry for A.J. Ouellette.
Really nice jump cuts on that run. Looks like Cordell Jackson might be a little slow to get up. But he's just bobbing and weaving his way right through the line of scrimmage here. Little jump cut back to the inside. There's Cordell Jackson, who's not afraid to get his nose dirty. In fact, he leads the Elks in tackles. Played a lot of the linebacker up front. He's favoring that right arm right now.
Came in at 9:42, needed 58 yards, and he's got 31 so far, and he takes the direct snap and adds to his yardage totals. Quarterback A.J. Ouellette on that run to the right on that second down and short, and another first down for Saskatchewan. Yeah, direct snap.
on some of those type of plays, I think coaches are thinking bigger. They're thinking, we're going to fool them, get the edge, and that's going to be a 40-50 yard run.
You know,
but they'll take the first.
I was just going to say, I joked quarterback A.J. Ouellette. Do you remember there was a game in Hamilton? The Argos were there, and it was like a running back option. He threw a touchdown pass in that game. He has done that in his CFL career. Trevor Harris, and another running play for the Rough Riders. Who led off. It's Mario Anderson on for the carry, getting it down a little closer to the 40 of Edmonton.
Okay, so Mark Mueller so far calling a lot of these running plays between the tackles, little swing pass to A.J. Ouellette out in the flat. We saw a couple plays ago. At some point, though, Trevor Harris, as the extension of his offensive coordinator, is going to have to pull that ball. And it's starting to get to that point where the defense is going to start closing in and pinching those inside gaps. And Trevor Harris has got to pull it one time, get around the edge, and then he can throw or run.
So
and slide early.
Yeah, actually, you slide a lot earlier for Trevor Harris. Passing down, pressure coming, gets rid of it, and it is caught too. Dante Myers, like Jalen Garnes is thinking it's an incomplete pass. It did hit the ground before Myers, so it'll be a third down coming up at the Edmonton 42.
I think Tyrell Ford was in coverage here and was right on the back in the timing, and that's a one-hopper.
Skipped that one in, so field goal try coming up for Brett Lother. His first field goal attempt coming up at this game, and a 50-yarder, his longest of his career and the season. A 59-yarder he had against Hamilton earlier this year. Mirko puts it down, and no, you can see how it broke to the right. So Javon Leake brings it out on the miss, and a good return for Leake as he's ultimately taken down across the 25. So no good there for Lother.
First miss in the last 3 games for Brett Lother.
And with that, Leake gets it out, and the Elks hanging on in the second quarter to the 4-point lead. Overall, great year for Corey Mace, leading the league at 10-3. And you look at the road records, leading the way in that department as well.
Yeah, looking to start playing. You want to be playing your best football heading into the playoffs, and at this point right now the Riders aren't doing that, not in this first half anyway, and not in against Montreal. Brett Lother was the talk of the town for the wrong reasons for a long time throughout the season when he was off and on, missed a ton of field goals, but in the last 3 games had bounced back. He was 7 of 7
and just had
look at
this. Oh my goodness, Rankin just had to touch him, and he was hit very hard by Marcus Sayles, coming in with perfect timing to make sure that wasn't a catch.
Yeah, he's going to have to go regroup. It looked like a clean hit. Led with the shoulder. Marcus Sayles, he may be the most important returning player, with all due respect to the Sam Emilises of the world. Get that veteran back on the corner into the boundary. Huge. That's a great read to get up there quickly.
Elks 2 for 6 on second down. This second down try, it's Benjamin Victor. He catches it, but he is hit right away. Ball coming out late. It's one of the newcomers on the corner, Benny Sapp III, with the coverage and the tackle. But well shy of a first down, and so the Elks will have to punt.
Boy, these defenses. I know we have Saskatchewan. Most of the season, they have been the #1 ranked defense. The Edmonton defense has improved tremendously in the last month, which is surprising when you look at what they did in the offseason with their D-line. Jake Seresner, Robbie Smith, and Brinkman. Don't have those guys available. A couple of new linebackers back there. In fact, 3 of them in the last month.
And some pressure coming in on Julian, who does get it away. And a good punt here, too, chasing Bain. After a 63-yard punt, Sean Bain back in the Reiner lineup and tackled by Alex Wright. Flag was down on that punt return. And Trevor Harris, not easier today. You talk about the performance of the Elks defense. He's 7 for 11, just 62 yards passing so far late in the first half.
Yeah, all these newcomers seem to be playing better over the last month than the starters did in the first month of the season.
Major foul, blindside block. Saskatchewan number 98, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Deshaun Stevens called on the blindside block, so it'll push the Riders to start this possession 4.5 minutes to go until halftime, and deep in their own zone.
Trevor Harris.
Well, yes, the older quarterbacks, I just can't call them old because they played like they were young. Remember Hank at age 40 and 12 wins in a season. Damon Allen, just legendary for that, as was Anthony Calvillo and Danny Mack, and put Trevor Harris in that class now at age 39, turns 40 next year, and 9 wins as a starting quarterback this year for Saskatchewan.
Yeah, I'm holding him at 38.
Yeah.
That's what I'm holding him at.
And a lot of them.
You don't do that?
No, well, I'm still 38. What do you mean?
Exactly. No, I
actually turned 39 10 years ago, but no,
well,
not even that.
And that emphasizes, again, he can still run, and it's going to be important for him to run for the odd first down every now and then. Mm-hmm. But again, especially at his age, getting out and hook sliding quickly, 2 yards before contact, it's got to happen.
As he was hit earlier, sliding late by Jalen Garnes coming in. Now, looks like he's changing the call here in a 2nd and 4 at the Rider 15. 3:37 until halftime. The throw, the catch, it's Myers, and enough for a first down for Saskatchewan, a 7-yard pickup.
This is one of the strategies for the offense for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, is to, run these intermediate, get the run game going, run the intermediate routes, run the flat routes, the short routes, and then as the game progresses, take your shots. And that's where Sam Emilus comes in. That's where Myers comes in. Keyshawn Johnson can get in behind coverage as well.
Up over the ball now at the 22. Last play before the 3-minute warning. Rolling to the right. Harris, DeBlanco chasing him. And he does dump it off and complete it to Tommy Neild. So on that first down play, they pick up about half of what they need. Coming back out of the warning in the Alberta capital on a nice Saturday in late September.
Coming up at half, it's all defense. Enoch has not stopped talking. He's so excited, it's ridiculous. You're welcome, Enoch.
You play defense, Enoch?
And guess what?
I just loved it.
It's the next edition of Straight Fire!
All right. Kate and the panel with Straight Fire coming up and celebrating defense. You don't mind that, my friend.
I'm with you, Enoch. Let's have some fun with this. Got some defense playing tonight.
Big defensive plays. 4-man rush. Harris trying to get something going here. Emilus, first game back since week 8, and right at the first down marker as well. Second catch for Samuel Emilus.
Yeah, those linebackers still getting real good depth for Edmonton in the defensive drops. Know that in second down, especially, that Trevor Harris doesn't want to necessarily throw the short crosser, the 2 or 3 yard crosser, but that may be what he needs to do to bring those linebackers closer and get Emilus in behind him.
And the Riders' opening possession, Harris was effectively picked off twice. As they fumbled it, they got the ball back. Now he's taken down. A sack for the Edmonton Elks. That's Tyreek Johnson. First-year Elk coming in and pushing the Riders back to about their own 25.
Just an unreal bull rush from Tyreek Johnson right here, a defensive tackle. He's going one-on-one with Daniel Johnson. And just a bull rush right back to the quarterback. That's just straight power. When you're a young football player in the gym doing squats and power cleans, that's why you do them.
There's the payoff. Johnson on Johnson there. And straight through to Harris. And down he goes, and they're at the 25 now in a 2nd and long, 17 yards. Late first half, under 2 minutes to go. Harris, lots of time. He gets on the move and completes it to a Joe, and he slips and falls with Tyrell Ford right on him, and it ends up being just a 1-yard pickup and a 3rd down coming up here.
Let's go back and take another look at that Tyreek Johnson sack. In fairness to Daniel Johnson right here, in fairness to him, it's his first start in about 8 weeks, so he's just trying to get his feet underneath him, and he certainly couldn't there with Tyreek Johnson just bull rushing him right back into Trevor Harris.
And you talked about the changes on that defensive line, especially because of all the injuries. It's supposed to be Serezna and Brinkman and Robbie Smith, and all injured and out. And yeah,
And that's no disrespect to those star players
but
that are injured, but
it's really been solidifying that defensive line despite the changes. Punt of 53 yards. Javon Leake has it at the 40, 45, and up near the 50 for Leake, former Special Teams Player of the Year in the Canadian Football League. As they get closer to midfield, good place to start for Cody Fajardo. We talked about his first start with the Edmonton Elks coming back in late July in Week 8 at Mosaic. His first start against his old team, the Roughriders, and did rack up some big numbers, a lot of it in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, big numbers. In fact, his largest total on the season as a starter in Edmonton.
They were down, but they picked up a couple of touchdowns, made it very close. Became a nail biter for the Riders, who won it by 3. Fajardo throwing, caught, down inside the Rider 50. That is Curly Gittins Jr., and that's a first down for Edmonton. Still plenty of time to get more points on the board, too. 1:15 on the clock, a gain of 13 for Gittins.
Oh, yeah, plenty of time. Can huddle up, don't necessarily even get into hurry up at this point. Try and at least get makeable field goal range before the half ends.
And the Riders facing the prospect of being shut out in this first half in Edmonton. Faking the handoff and tossing it deep. Yes, Keon Julian Grant, what a catch. Got him behind, but still had to reach out. Has it down at the Rider 1, and a 1st and goal coming up for Edmonton.
well, it's been a roller coaster season for Julian Grant. Go back to Hamilton. He had a drop. He fought back from that. Had a big game-winning touchdown against Montreal. Bit of a roller coaster season, but this is maybe one of his best catches of the year. To track that ball, find it, and find it over DeMarcus Fields at the same time. A 47-yard gain. Man, that's a tough catch. Great concentration from Julian Grant.
The combination again, Cody Fajardo, can Julian Grant. Cole Snyder in, short yardage, pushing in for the Edmonton touchdown. And the first touchdown of this game as the Elks add to their lead before halftime.
Boy, it really is great to see a packed house, and I understand that there are a lot of Saskatchewan Roughrider fans in attendance here, but they're up on their feet after that touchdown and that tremendous catch from Keon Julian Grant.
Mentioning the history with Cody Fajardo going back to the Alouette days. Got a touchdown pass in the Eastern Final from Fajardo last November. And the big return to Montreal for both of them, such a meaningful game. And Julian Grant from Fajardo, the hero at the end.
Coming off the Hamilton drop.
That's
which
right.
Was huge.
Yeah, and they got the big win against the Alouettes. So Blanchard, point after try. And we have an 11-0 Edmonton lead on the top team in the Canadian Football League standings, the Saskatchewan Roughriders. 34 seconds to go until halftime. A 3-play, 61-yard drive in only 46 seconds, and featuring this big play, a 47-yard connection to Julian Grant.
Yeah, he lines up as a wide receiver here and is just going to nonchalantly. This is definitely not full speed for Julian Grant, but he lulls DeMarcus Fields into a false sense of security, and then Fields is in a chase position. But the toughest part of this catch is at the top of the road here, where he's got to maintain his concentration, gear down a little bit, and then has to reach out for it. He's trying to track that ball and does a superb job of it.
Well, you see it as a nice tribute to Larry Thompson, too. Just 2 days after his passing, we were talking earlier, Tom was talking about that memorable excursion after Larry Thompson had officially bought the Edmonton Elks last year, wandering a little too close to the Calgary bench, but really endearing himself to the fans here. And such a terrible loss, thinking of him and his family today as they ride the fire truck after the touchdown. John Bain in the return, up across the 35, and very little time, about a half-minute left for a Rider team that still hasn't picked up a point. Kate, Milt likes to talk about offense. Enoch, though, pleased to talk about what the Edmonton defense has done so far. They're coming up at the half.
Okay, Enoch, you take control in there. Start talking about, let's start the halftime with, defense wins championships. By the way, Sean Bain.
We have offsetting, 15-yard misconduct penalties. Saskatchewan 96 and Edmonton 33. Be first down.
Nice for Saskatchewan to have Sean Bain back in the lineup as well. Joe Robustelli is nicked up, opened up an opportunity for Bain. But yeah, you can start the conversation by saying, defense wins championships. Yep. We say that all the time.
Yep. Offense sells the tickets and defense wins the championship.
And even though we're over the last 20 years in the league really trying to improve the offensive output by rule changes.
Here we go.
Just say that out loud. and yet there can be great defensive performances too. And right now the Elks are playing very well on that side of the ball.
And remember too, Edmonton ranks last, 9th in the CFL in defense, putting on a show today. There's Keyshawn Johnson, as Saskatchewan will see if they can just get close enough to get on the board in this game. That's a first down as they get up closer to midfield.
Yeah, go ahead and get at least 3-4 plays. You know that the defensive backs for the Elks will be playing off a little bit, don't want to get anybody in behind them.
From the 52, it's caught, and it's into the Edmonton zone. And it's Johnson in tight coverage too, down just inside the 45. And Keyshawn Johnson officially going over 1,000 yards receiving this season as they quickly get up. They work tempo, 13 seconds on the clock. Trying to get a little closer for Brett Lothar, and they do. That's Tommy Neal with the catch. Down closer to the 35, 6 seconds to go, and the kicking unit will come on for Brett Lothar. He's 0 for 1. He missed from 50. This one will be spotted closer than that, and a chance to get them 3 points before halftime.
And a new holder again.
Yeah, Jesse Mirko. It had been Joe Couch all season, a fellow Aussie, and Couch is now on the practice roster, and Mirko activated. And you're right, punter, new holder though automatically as well. Spotting it down at the 44 for the first points for the Riders. Heading off and heading through, and indeed they are not shut out in the first half. Something to show for it as Lothar, and that 44-yarder gets Saskatchewan on the board. But this is a game Edmonton Elks team that needs to win, and certainly defensively playing like it, and on offense too. Last possession, that big play to Julian Grant, setting them up for the only touchdown we've seen so far in this game.
Yeah, but led by their defense, and Brock Mogensen has been a guy that's been all over the field in that first half, leading from the middle linebacker spot, playing for Niles Morgan, who was injured a few weeks ago. This was the second interception on basically the same drive.
And Mogensen now standing by with Tom Gazzola. Tom?
Brock, you guys hold the top team in the league to just 3 points in that half. You got a forced fumble, an interception. What's working for you guys defensively?
We're a defense that flies around. Running the ball, every play is ours, and that's our mentality. And, we got to get out the field. They've had a couple long drives on us, but we come together. They got 3, but we got to be better in the second half.
I know there was a couple of tough losses in back-to-back games on the road there. You lose your owner this week, awful loss. How is this team holding itself together?
We've all come together. All the team meetings that we've had this week, we're all a group, and we're fighting for each other in every way, and that's how it starts right here.
Appreciate the time.
Yep, thank you.
All right, Brock Mogensen and the Elks lead the Riders 11-3 goal.
Holding the Elks to just 123 net yards, and a part of that, defenseman lineman Haba Baldonado is a sack and a couple of tackles. Standing by now with Tom.
Haba, defensive battle for most of that first half. You chip in with a sack in that one. How did you see it from your point of view?
It was a great performance by the defense, but we got to hold up. They got points on the board, so we didn't do our job to the fullest.
How much of shaking off the rust is there, in your opinion, considering you guys had the bye week?
We were on the point, everybody's working hard. They know what we got, so nobody's slacking. Nobody's taking time off. We're just working. That's what we're doing.
Appreciate the time, Haba.
Sure, thank you.
Had a chance this offseason to go and check out his old team, the Lazio Marines from Rome. Went to Florence and Rome, went and saw Guelfi Firenze from Florence versus the Lazio Marines. The Firenze won 42-13. And that was his old team, part of the global initiative, and one of the great players to come out of it is Baldonado. Special thank you to the GM of Lazio, Fabrizio Cappellini.
There you go.
Took care. We talked about it, and you know how proud they are? The whole city, country, when they get a player in the Canadian Football League, they're following him from over in Europe.
Playing well, too, getting a chance to start. That's Sean Bain on the return. A 30-yard return for Bain in his first game back in a year because of a knee injury. And Trevor Harris coming on now with that Rider offense and some work to do as the second half is underway. 11-3 the score with Edmonton on top.
Yeah, completion percentage still up there for Trevor Harris, but just the 2 interceptions all on that same drive right out of the gate, and then not been able to really push the ball. Take some shots down the field, maybe a couple double moves. I always think that when you're throwing those intermediate routes, the former DB in me says it's coming. There's going to be a double move anytime now.
3 receivers to the left and swinging it out that way. That's Emelis. A couple of catches in this return game for the Riders, and just gets it up across the 40, a pickup of 2 yards for Samuel Emelis.
And I got to thank Kate right out of the gate. I mean, she went with the line.
There you go.
Defense wins championship.
There you go. The old axiom.
I don't think I've ever seen Enoch that fired up for a halftime hit, but it's great. Yeah. Great to see. Yeah. Milt was just kind of hanging out. He was like,
Milt kind of looked a bit disgusted.
Yeah,
actually.
He wasn't happy, was he? See if they can play that well in the second half here.
Second down and long. Trevor Harris looking off to the left and coming down, sliding down and catching it. Samuel Emelis. And a big first down for Saskatchewan. Had lost his feet going down. The ball arrived and he hung on.
There you go, Milt. There's one for you. Get excited about, because that's a good catch. I mean, just like earlier, just at the end of the half, the Julian Grant catch, this is another really tough one. Ball behind him, going down, and catches it right off the shoulder pad. First big play in the return of Sam Emelis.
And a flag comes out. The Riders quickly got the next play off to A.J. Ouellette.
Make sure there was no challenge.
Yeah, I was going to say, want to get a next one off so that Edmonton can't challenge
Saskatchewan number 52. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Jamarcus Hardrick, veteran right tackle, in his second year back with the Riders.
But a chance to play every game.
Yeah.
And that's huge for Saskatchewan to have the stability at that right tackle spot from an all-star like Hardrick.
Former top offensive lineman in the Canadian Football League and a staple in that offensive line with Winnipeg for years, and really one of his mentors and great friend Stanley Bryant on the other side of that line at left tackle. But Hardrick had played for the Riders back in 2015 and back with them now for second year. A screen set up for Keyshawn Johnson. He sidesteps any possible tackle there by the Elks, and he gets it up close to the original line of scrimmage on that pickup. They needed 20 for the first down. They got 8.
Starts out of the backfield and then is just going to set up the screen. Trevor Harris trying to sell the linebacking core for the Elks that he's looking to his right for them to flow over there, and then he drops it in there, and I thought there was going to be a massive collision, but a little bit of a chip block from one of Johnson's teammates saved the hit.
So it is still a 2nd and 12 in the Elk zone down to the Edmonton 48. Riders trail by 8. 3 receivers to the left. Harris is looking that way. Oh, nearly intercepted by J.J. Ross. Harris picked off twice in the first half, and that was nearly a third time as Ross had put the hands up and just couldn't snag the football. So third down instead for the Riders.
Yeah, and again, from the first half, Mogensen dropping real deep. The Blanco on the outside also getting good depth in his drop. Again, until Trevor starts looking in this area to pull those linebackers closer, these are going to be tough throws to complete. That one would almost intercepted. Ross would have had 3 in 3 games.
Brett Lauther's trying a 56-yard field goal. It is heading off to his left, and it's taken out by Javon Leake. And he backtracks and he gets to the 5 and the 10 and across close to the 15. So Lothar missed from the 50 and 56 yards. 1 for 2, had the distance, but no, it's still an 11-3 Edmonton lead. Well, on a day for defense, not many big offensive plays. This is the biggest. One more time, Keon Julian Grant.
Well, let me explain. And Milt talked about this. One of the great receivers of all time on our panel talked about how tough of a catch that is. I mean, Julian Grant was looking over his left shoulder at the beginning of that route, had to flop and find the ball looking over the opposite shoulder, then gear down, then stretch out for it with a defender right in his lap. That was a big catch.
Led to the only touchdown of this game by Edmonton. They have the ball now. Still with the 8-point lead. Justin Rankin, not much there. His numbers, we talked about the feast or famine phenomenon with Rankin, who one of the top running backs, and well, he is the top receiver in the Elks. I mean, he makes lots of big plays, but he has some games where he doesn't have much production, and so far this has been one of them.
Well, and I'm sure Maksimic, the offensive coordinator, has talked about this at halftime and said, you know, in the first half, we only ran the ball 4 times on first down. There were 7 passes, got sacked once, but only 4 runs. And, you know, if our best player is Rankin, then it's got to be more. So they start the second half with a run on first down.
He did have a 15-yard run, but the other one's not much. 3 for 17 total. Throwing quickly over the middle in coverage, and that was intended for Adu Hilaire. One of the newcomers. A flag coming out too. There was tight coverage by the Riders and a late flag coming up around the scene of that play.
Hilaire kind of got up with his hands in the air like, what happened there? He starts in the slot here, lines up as a wide receiver most of the time, but they'll move him around.
Pass interference. Saskatchewan number 22. Spot of the foul, automatic first down.
Announced by the referee Tom Valesi on DeMarcus Fields in his coverage of Adu Hilaire.
Hilaire's at that slot back spot, running the dig route. He's going to have 2 defenders. Underneath is Revis, who opens up to it. Early contact from DeMarcus Fields. You can't go through the receiver to get to the ball.
Pick up 17 in the penalty, and that's Curly Gittens. He turns it up after the catch across the 40, and looks like another Elks first down. It is indeed 12 more yards for Curly Gittens Jr.
Targeted 72 times coming into this game tonight. A bunch again tonight. He is the guy that Cody Fajardo really leans on.
Gittens, 4 catches, 66 yards. And they're up to their 43. Third quarter. Elks desperately need a victory. And just throwing it away in the area of Rankin, down low under the pressure. Fajardo just got rid of it.
Big Micah Johnson sniffed that one out. The veteran, 6 quarterback sacks on the season for Micah Johnson, and he just reads this. And because he reads it so well, he sees the double team, he fights over, he sees Rankin, he's just going to cover. Micah Johnson just plays the play. In other words, that probably wasn't his responsibility. His responsibility is get up the field and get after Cody Fajardo, but he read the play. His experience took over, and that was it.
So here we go in a 2nd and 10. Some pressure's coming. A flag is out. It is caught down low by Victor. Said flags down. That is shy of the 50 and well shy of a first down. A couple of flags down in the field.
The Elks this season have given up more sacks than any team in the league. 43 to be exact. Last year, all year, much better at it. Now, Trey Ford.
Offside. Edmonton number 87. That penalty be declined. It'll be 3rd down.
It's called on the guy who caught the ball, Benjamin Victor.
Trey Ford last year played a lot of those games and much tougher to sack. But they had 29 the entire season. This year already at 43. And I bring it up because there's high percentage for Cody Fajardo also is at times tied into good decision making, meaning not forcing the ball and taking a sack, thinking that we'll live to play another day.
The Riders decline because it's still 3rd down, and Julian has to punt it away here, and another booming kick. 55 yards down to Sean Payne. A flag is out on his return, just down the sideline. On the penalty call, Rider football, Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. The Saskatchewan trying to come back and get that much closer to clinching a home playoff date.
There's always highlights in a football game, even when the offenses aren't quite on track like they'd like to be. We can show you some defensive plays. There's Kenneth Logan that had an interception, then got stripped by a Joe, and then here's Mogeson. Enoch's favorite player is going to get a signed autograph from the South Dakota product with his interception.
Who knows, maybe Mogeson won an Enoch autograph. There's A.J. Ouellette. They start deep in their zone, but this is certainly going to help Saskatchewan. Big burst by 45, an 11-yard pickup, adding to his totals over 1,000 yards, or needs 6 yards now, I'm told by our statistician Dave Moore, to reach 1,000.
Yeah, pretty good blocking up front here. Take a look at the guards at work here. Jacob Brammer and Daniel Johnson. Big block here. Nice, just caving in the left side of the defensive line just to get A.J. Ouellette into the secondary, into the linebacking core and secondary. Very close to going over 1,000 yards for the second time in his career. A.J. Ouellette, backfield clears, Harris throws, caught by a Joe, close to another first down, just dives at the end, but he'll be very close, about a yard shy.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders win that run pass breakdown. When you take a look at the first half, on first down, they ran the ball 10 times. Passed it 6, got sacked twice, but run heavy on first down in the first half. Hasn't produced the points, but did get some drives together for Trevor Harris.
And they got a good one going now after the run by Ouellette, and the pass to a Joe was enough for a first down. They started near their goal line. They're just shy of their 25, and it's a running play for Sam Emelis. And on that sweep, he takes it up for another Saskatchewan first down. So the Riders quickly moving now.
Yeah, I'm not sure that all the defenders for the Elks knew where the ball was here. I mean, that we've seen this on a couple of teams run a play like this, where the quarterback basically in the shotgun just touches the ball and tips it.
Little touch pass.
Yeah, little touch pass up front to the streaking slot back coming around, and there was a couple of Edmonton Elks that were looking for the football. Like, where is it?
Up to the 35 now. Another first down. Third of this drive. Pressure coming. He gets rid of it. In coverage there, Cordell Jackson right in on Emelis at the 40. And that falls incomplete. Second down.
Well, you love to have a Cordell Jackson in your lineup.
Versatile.
Oh, for sure. You know, and can play, you know, play so many different positions, but not just hang in there, but play well. I mentioned he leads the team in tackles. Played a lot of the season at the Sam linebacker, so you're basically a cover DB up there, but you're also close enough to be involved in the run, get a lot of tackles in that regard. So it was a big play and a great close.
It's up at the 35, a second and 10. Riders. Harris gets rid of it to Dante Myers, and great work after the catch by Myers to get another Rider first down. Took a hit and kept on going. A gain of 13 yards, and they get that thanks in large part to what he did after he caught the ball.
Yeah, Dante Myers keeps his legs moving. Once he has this football in his hands on the crosser, he keeps the legs moving, and Tyrell Ford, who was trying to tackle him initially, didn't.
Up to the Rider 48, faking to Ouellette, dumping it off to Emelis. A little hurdle there. Add that to the hurdle reel. A smaller one, but still it is another good play and a 10-yard pickup for the Saskatchewan offense, and we're just shy of the first down. It'll be inches away.
He's coming out to the flat. That was a little tip pass, same type of formation, same look, but this time they didn't tip it to him underneath. They just let him get out on the flat.
That was a pretty good hurdle there by Emelis, and following up, short yardage. A.J. Ouellette, first down.
That fired up Corey Mace. I don't know if you saw the reaction over there. This pass run from Emelis, the play before when he hurdles the tackle here, the tackle attempt. That's Cordell Jackson again, just trying to go right through his hip, and he hurdles him, and boy, Corey Mace just He loved that one.
Yeah, coach is fired up. That knee seems to be just fine for Emelis. A knee injury keeping him out of the lineup for quite a while. We do have an injured player for the Elks down near midfield. We'll take a break here at Commonwealth Stadium. Back in a moment. The Ryder Cup continues. Bethpage Black in New York tomorrow, day 3, final day, and Europe in charge. 11.5 to 4.5. Coverage getting underway at noon Eastern. It's the singles matches now, and the Americans really have a lot of work to do. 9 a.m. Pacific on TSN for the Ryder Cup, as Europe looks to defend their championship and win it on American soil this time around. Ryder fans everywhere. We've said that many times. A lot of them here in Edmonton. There's the toss. A.J. Ouellette across the 50, 45, 40. Over 1,000 and still counting. A.J. Ouellette gets it down to the Edmonton 20. 1,000-yard rushing season, and a big play there, his biggest on the day, as they venture down to the red zone.
Goalpost is kind of blocking our shot here, but when you take a look at A.J. Ouellette out in the flat here, he's going to get this quick toss. He's got a pulling guard out there. That's Daniel Johnson. Remember, Daniel Johnson gave up that sack, 31-yard gain.
This time it's Emelis. He's been used a lot on this drive in his first game back.
So getting to 1,000 yards in style for A.J. Ouellette. And the pulling guard and Daniel Johnson getting out in front, getting the kick out block, and away he goes for that 1,000-yard mark.
Ouellette came in at 942, so just 58 yards away, and this is the one that put him over the top.
Watch Daniel Johnson coming around.
Ouellette adding to his totals now, still running hard as he works it down for another first down. A first and goal coming up here for Saskatchewan.
Talking to Saskatchewan, to Corey Mace and to Trevor Harris this week, talking about the blocking of his guys up front and how this receiving corps and the receiver room takes such great pride in blocking. We talked about that with a lot of different teams, but this team seems to love block downfield.
Riders need a touchdown. A.J. Ouellette! Does he get it? Touchdown, Saskatchewan Roughriders, and what a drive for their leading rusher. Goes over 1,000 yards, picks up 6 points at the end of it.
See if he got in before the knee went down. This will automatically be reviewed anyway. Contact made there by Mogensen. Twist, hand down. That's not down. That's a touchdown.
The knee's still not touching. Just a hand down, and reaches the ball across to break the plane for a memorable drive by 45. A.J. Ouellette, the first touchdown of the evening for Saskatchewan.
By design, really nice drive.
Down by 2, they'll go for 2 to see if they can tie it. Back to Ouellette. Pushing, and not quite getting there this time, although he got a bit of help at the end, but they say no, he didn't quite make it that time, so it remains an 11-9 game, but he goes over 100 yards in this game. The game where he goes over 1,000 for the season for the second time in his career. A.J. Ouellette had 1,009 with the Argos a couple of years ago. He's done better than that now. Riders right back in this game. A.J. Ouellette, 1,000-yard rushing season. Just had a touchdown that got the Riders back to within 2.
11-play drive, 108 yards, 540, and a play sequence that looked very similar. Look at that little pitch to Sam Emelis. That's how this drive got going. And then the same look, but this time it's Emelis in the flat. Same look, same run, same precision from all different players. And now the touchdown. Emelis had gone across the formation just like he did in those previous 3, but this time the third option is to give it to A.J. Ouellette. So the great play calling comes right out of the playbook. 3 plays that look identical to the defense, 3 different ball carriers. Well, two different ball carriers, but 3 different ways.
And the best the Rider offense has looked in this game. There's Arkell Smith joining Javon Leake back for the kickoff, but now we got a game. It's a 2-point difference. The Elks still lead. Riders offense showing a lot of life, and this is a Saskatchewan team, as mentioned, top of the overall standings in the Canadian Football League, coming in at 10-3. They do not lose often. Let's go down to Tom.
Rod, that was a point of emphasis for Trevor Harris. He said this team, this Riders team, maintains a short memory. It also maintains the motto, how can we be better? And he says this team needs to have more urgency as it builds towards the postseason, coming off that loss a couple of weeks ago to Montreal.
Yeah, and really only the second team that they've lost to this year. They lost twice to Calgary and once to Montreal, Tom, as you talked about, and no back-to-back losses, and they want to keep that little run going now, see if they can come back and win this and really solidify their spot on top of the West. Edmonton needing to hang on with the ball now, still with a 2-point lead. Quickly, Benjamin Victor on that catch from Cody Fajardo.
And I think for Saskatchewan, you're wanting to bounce back in a big way from the way they lost to Montreal. I mean, and it shouldn't have been too much of a shock. The back-to-back Labor Day games against Winnipeg, to win both of those is quite the task, and it is draining emotionally, mentally, physically, all of that. They had the bye after the Montreal game, went into that Montreal game, and let's be honest, they were flat because Montreal was the better team, wasn't close. Wanted to bounce back from that with a good effort tonight, and the second half is looking better.
Oh yeah, bouncing back in this third quarter, to be sure, as Justin Rankin still can't get it going against a very stiff Saskatchewan Roughriders defense. We get a third down and 2 yards to go here for Edmonton.
Well, you know, Rod, when we start the show, when we talk about Rankin being their best player, and guess who else knows that? Saskatchewan defense. They know that too. So they're going to hang in there.
3 of his 4 carries gone for 1 yard. The other one went for 15. But that's, for the most part, the job that the Riders have done against.
So Mac Simic now has got to look at getting him away from between the tackles, getting him out on the edges, little swing passes, screen passes, things like that.
So the punt from Jake Julian, as right after scoring the touchdown, the Riders going to get the ball back. It's Sean Bain after a 61-yard punt and works it up closer to the 30. A.J. Ouellette, 1,000-yard rusher in 2025. He was in 2023, but you see how he stacks up with the best running backs in the CFL this year, Butler and Mills.
Yeah, and right down there at the bottom, the last time a Rider got to 1,000 yards was William Powell back in 2019. So A.J. Ouellette bringing balance to the offense with a little help from Mario Anderson, getting the odd rep and giving Ouellette a chance to catch his breath at times after big runs.
He got his opportunity in Toronto for injury to Andrew Harris and made the most of it in 2023, and Harris now is coach with Saskatchewan, and they're putting him to work again. No rest for the big back on and adding to his totals. And Andrew Harris, of course, great career, starting with BC, winning a cup there, but of course those years in Winnipeg, and what a tremendous running back, most outstanding, and leading the way in rushing yardage a few times, and now a coach with Saskatchewan.
Oh, they're coming. They were showing blitz there, the Elks. All 3 linebackers jumped in the line of scrimmage. I think they just audibled to get out of it.
2nd and 5. Harris has time, and no, a little low for a Joe. Can't hang on as he was sliding down, as Harris frustrated with that and puts it on himself as a 3rd down. It's a quick 2 and out for Saskatchewan as the Elks holding onto that 2-point lead, about to get the ball back.
There was some interesting changes at the line of scrimmage. Watch the linebackers show like they're going to blitz. Stopped. So Trevor Harris changes the play now. He sees that there's going to be full blitz, so he changes the play, and so does Mogensen. And all of a sudden now they're going to drop and say, okay, now we're not going to blitz.
Football's chess match.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfectly executed there by the Elks, and backpedaling his leak at the 15. 61-yard punt for the new punter for the Roughriders, Jesse Mirko.
Yeah, it is a great chess match where all of a sudden they show, and Trevor Harris gets them into that pre-count. So that's delivered by the offense. They're getting in there. They want to go up like they're going to snap the ball on first down and go, hey, hey. And then the defense declares, and then Trevor Harris changes the play. But this time, the South Dakota product, he also changes the play. So he turns around and says, remember that blitz? We're not doing that anymore. Now we're going to drop.
I tell you, these Edmonton linebackers, we haven't talked much about Joel DeBlanco, the second-year guy. And, you know, he had Nick Anderson, rookie of the year last year, injured and out. Niles Morgan, their star in the middle, and out. And look at what these guys are doing right now. Here's Rankin.
Here we go.
It's more like it for Edmonton fans as he has another bigger run, a 14. He had a 15 in the first half, but some 1-yarders before that. But that's a big run for Rankin and the Elks in the first down.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes that's what it takes for offensive coordinators, even if it's not going to your favorite player, even if it's not, you know, your best player on offense is not getting a lot of production as the game is going on. Stick with it, stick with it, stick with it, and finally he's going to break open into the secondary off the edge.
Fast third quarter. This is the last play of it. We'll be heading into the final 15 and then going down for a loss. Getting tripped up there if you're taking that handoff is Justin Rankin. DeMarcus Fields rushing in on him. The Riders still trail, but the Riders got closer. Moving down in an impressive drive, capped off. Well, he had that hurdle by Emelis and the touchdown by their big back, A.J. Ouellette. 2-point game, 15 minutes to go. Through 3 quarters, the Elks still lead the Roughriders, but just by 2 points. Saskatchewan coming on, Suits. And as you look at those numbers, we have to emphasize the importance of this game to Edmonton. They feel like they absolutely have to win.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they're ahead in the turnover battle, and that bodes well usually for teams. We're way behind in the running the ball battle, and that's where A.J. Ouellette has the edge. It looked like Rankin may be getting a little traction here in this last drive, but with Ouellette's production, the Saskatchewan Roughriders can maintain drives, and that's why they have the edge. That's why they have the edge in time of possession.
The last return, Javon Leake had been injured and got some attention, but back there at the bench. And there's Andrew Harris on the right and A.J. Ouellette. They used to be teammates in Toronto, and Harris now a coach. And what work in the third quarter by A.J. Ouellette, going over 100 yards in the game, over 1,000 yards in the season. Blitz coming quickly. Fajardo, and gets it to Julian Grant. And the ball comes out. The whistle's already gone. Kosi Onyeka taking it down into the end zone for what would be a Rider touchdown. But we heard whistles blow with Julian Grant as he had the catch and taken down in a discussion at the Riders sideline now for Corey Mace.
Well, let's see if it was a fumble or if he was down by contact first and take the whistle out of the discussion for a second. Well, it looks like the ball was out. But I did hear the whistle at one point, and they may rule forward progress here.
Saskatchewan is challenging the play for down by contact.
The trouble is here, I mean, even though it looked like they were letting it play out with Onyeka taking it in, as you said, we did hear whistles blow, so there is a challenge here.
Well, there's down by contact and whether or not the ball came out first, but there's also forward progress. See, you heard the whistle there.
Yeah.
So there's also forward progress and whether or not that was stopped. But you clearly heard the whistle there. So interesting because he wasn't down by contact. It didn't look like. It looked like the ball came out prior to him being down.
Definitely not down. I mean, that ball came out before then, and Kosi Onyeka feels he should have himself a touchdown hanging on to that football. The problem, as said, is the whistles had blown. Otherwise, they had let it play out. It might well be Onyeka with the touchdown. Here is the announcement now from the replay center on the challenge.
After review by the replay center, we have an Edmonton fumble and a clear recovery by Saskatchewan. It'll be first down.
So they are giving them the ball, but because the whistle had blown, Saskatchewan football, but yeah, Onyeka does get the recovery, just not the 6 points.
Yeah, okay, so that's how it's ruled here, is that the ball is ruled a fumble. So not down by contact, didn't have a stoppage in the forward progress, so that ball is out. Now, you did hear the whistle, and we've shown it a couple times with so that ball is out. Now, you did hear the whistle, and we've shown it a couple times with the whistle sound up, and it was clearly there. So the advancement of the ball can't be counted because the play was blown dead after the recovery.
So the end result, Saskatchewan football on the Edmonton turnover at the 41 of the Elks. And already the Riders in position to take the lead as A.J. Ouellette picks up another couple of yards. It is Joel DeBlanco, who's their leading tackler last week and second leading tackler on the team in his second year, first overall pick, the CFL draft a year ago. But what a story he has been. 5 tackles on the night. And he has really become a young leader on that Edmonton defense. We talk about the turnover of players because of injuries, and no Nick Anderson. He gets a start in the weak side. Originally from Washington State, but Canadian through his parents, his grandparents, from Edmonton. There's a quick pass there from Harris to Keyshawn Johnson. But yeah, I mean, it's been a nice story. His grandparents, before moving to the U.S., they used to hold season tickets for the old Edmonton Eskimos at Clark Stadium. There's quite a history here that he came back to, like a second home for Joel DeBlanco.
I love it. Absolutely love it. And really making a difference. I mean, you talked about his tackles. In the last 2 games coming into tonight, 16 total. And he's what? He's at 5 or 6 now already.
But to finish that thought, I mean, his dad born in Canada, in Alberta, and really coming back to his roots and discovering a second home with the Elks drafting him the way they did in 2024. And that keeper, it's Tommy Stevens. Flag coming out, though, and he'd have enough for the first down.
You know the one thing you notice about Tommy Stevens?
Offside, Edmonton defensive line. 5-yard penalty, first down.
I mean, we talked about his physical presence, but the one thing I notice is this ownership with the short yardage unit.
Yeah.
You know, you can see when he takes the snap in short yardage, he loves it. Like he's this is not fake. This is not okay. I'll go out and do short yardage. This is like I'm having fun out here. I love it. Let's just grind out a couple more.
I mean, he really did. He took ownership with it with Calgary in those years with the Stampeders.
Yep, for sure.
And using his size to his advantage. And it's interesting. We've seen him do it a couple of times, including this game, where you think he's just going to power his way through, and then he fools the defense by going outside and getting the edge and picking up a few more yards. Another injured player down for the Elks. So we will be back in a moment here in Edmonton. We're back next week, week 18, Friday Night Football. It is the Saskatchewan Roughriders after this game getting ready for the Red Blacks in Ottawa. Those 2 teams got the season started way back in June. Perilous for the Red Blacks with just 4 wins, and the Riders looking to take a step closer to wrapping up not only home field but first place in the West and bye to the Western Final. Getting awfully close, especially if they can come back and get the victory in this game. An injured player for the Elks. They've had a couple of injuries more on their defensive line. That's Jordan Williams, recently added to Edmonton after being let go by the Toronto Argonauts. And as said, we've talked so much about all the adjustments Edmonton's defense has had to do up front, especially Jared Brinkman, Jake Serezna, Robbie Smith. A lot of injured ball players, and then the linebacking core too, and yet Tyreek Johnson, injured earlier, is back in. He's had a good game, and this Edmonton defense has certainly stood up. I mean, you look at the score. Saskatchewan has had explosive days, but for the most part, they've kept them under wraps. But it is Saskatchewan pressing to take the lead for the first time. Ouellette cuts it back a little bit to the right and then heads up, works it down a little bit closer to the 25 more yards for A.J. Ouellette as he keeps racking up the yardage after going over 1,000 for the season earlier in this half.
That is so Andrew Harris style right there.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, press the line of scrimmage. We talked many times with Andrew. Press the line of scrimmage, keep your feet moving, jump cut, find the hole, let the blocks get set up, and then explode.
Harris, the 2nd and 5, and too far. He had Keyshawn Johnson open down near the goal line to the right, but it just went over his head. And now we got a 3rd and 5, and Lawther will be coming on to see if he can give the Riders their first lead of this game.
This was a pitch and catch, if not for the pressure. Just as Trevor Harris goes to throw to a wide open Keyshawn Johnson, he gets hit. That affects the accuracy of the throw. Still feeling the effects, it looks like.
Lawther's made one, and he's missed a few as well from 50 and 56. This is a shorter one, and he does get that one through. And a big 3 it is for Brett Lawther and the Riders as they are on top for the first time here in the 4th quarter. 12-11 the score.
Yeah, Tyree Johnson right in here. He's back in the game, was out earlier. Remember that bull rush early where he got to Trevor Harris? Another bull rush in the middle, and that disrupts the accuracy of the throw because that timing on the hit was bang on as he was trying to release it. Because he had a wide open receiver there.
He did. And points off the turnover too, Suits, starting with a short field after the fumble recovery by Kosi Onyeka. So leads to a field goal. 11:35 on the clock. Faking to Rankin. Deeper ball. Fajardo, it's caught too. Wide open and going up for it nicely is Keon Julian Grant, who's been their big play receiver tonight.
Yeah, it really has. Made some great catches with a man on him. This was finding the soft spot in between the deep zone coverage and the underneath coverage, and you'll see a rider from the right and left close in after the throw and catch, a 26-yard gain. Getting plus territory.
Get it to the 44 of Saskatchewan. The Elks really need this with momentum clearly swinging in this second half Saskatchewan's way. The Elks trailing for the first time in this game. A game they feel they absolutely need to win. Here's Rankin feeling his way through for more yardage. Justin Rankin with a couple of good runs, and he's also been stuffed up as well. Picks up 7 more yards as they get a little bit closer.
A little bit closer and in field goal range now. These tight games, that matters. Not that, you know, and when I say that, I don't think you get conservative, and I don't think you play for field goals. So obviously you're trying to score majors every time you have the ball, but something to keep in mind when you're in field goal range in a 1-point game.
2nd and 3. In the 37, back to Rankin. Cuts it outside. Had some room too. Justin Rankin still going. Sapp chasing him. Milligan at the goal line. Looks like he just ended. It's a touchdown, Edmonton. 37 yards, Rankin. Oh, the Elks really needed that. Thought Milligan might have had him before he broke the plane, but no. Great work by Rankin at a time when Edmonton really needed it.
Great speed from Rankin once he gets the corner. So how does he get it? C.J. Rivas looks like he's the contained man. I'm not sure on the exact call defensively, but it looks like he gets caught inside. And on the outside from a blitz was DeMarcus Fields. DeMarcus Fields or Rivas had to have contained there. They both lost it. Rankin gets outside, then it's all about speed.
Heading into that play at 34 yards rushing, that went 37 for the touchdown. They'll go for 2. Leading by 5, trying to make it a 7-point lead. Fajardo, pressure coming. The toss into the end zone. The coverage is there. DeMarcus Fields on Rankin. He's used well as a receiver too, but no, it remains a 5-point difference. Just under 10 minutes to go. Elks don't get the conversion, but they do get a beautiful response after Saskatchewan took the lead. Rankin in business again.
I'm learning the chords to that song.
Yes, you are. I figured you would be. And we're watching Justin Rankin here, and
boy, that was some great speed.
We were wondering when he would break out, and he certainly did on that play. A 3-play drive for 70 yards, 37-yard run for Justin Rankin. It's all under 2 minutes. Time of the essence. Sean Bain, first game back, first game of this season with the Rough Riders, and filling in for Mario Alford on the returns, starting at the 15. And that's Dante Myers on the return back there with Bain, and a great return by Myers up to the 45. Let's have another look at that touchdown.
So we mentioned Carter O'Donnell at the start of the show and how the coaching staff's been impressed with his aggressiveness. He's going to pull from the backside of this on the offensive line, and wondering why C.J. Rivas and DeMarcus Fields, who is on the outside here, I was wondering why they lost contain. Well, part of the reason is Carter O'Donnell created a mess right there for both those defenders. That gave the outside to Rankin for just a split second, and that's all he needed.
Riders trailing again by 5 with the ball at their 45, 1st and 10, faking to Ouellette and sending it off for Tommy Neal. That one went high and just ended up sailing out of bounds. Bit of a dangerous pass there for Harris. 2nd down.
He might have thrown it around the rush there. Big 2nd down here.
And there are 11 for 21 and 2nd down conversions in this game. Been a tougher one for Harris and the Rider offense, although, as mentioned, definitely waking up in the 2nd half. They had the touchdown drive in the 3rd quarter, capped off by Ouellette. Another field goal this quarter. 2nd and 10. Harris can't step up. He's taken down. It's Elijah Alston. Another addition that the Elks have made to their defensive front, and Alston has his first CFL sack.
Well, this is a trend for CFL teams this year, is to dress a whole bunch of D linemen. And Alston is one of them. Mark Killam, in his roster construction, will put 10 defensive linemen, and so does Corey Mace often, will put 10 defensive linemen dressed on the roster so they can rotate and keep them fresh for this time in the game.
Jesse Mirko is the punter, making his CFL debut today, and he is back at his 30. Pressure coming. They nearly got to him. Lands at the 20 for Javon Leake, a 47-yard punt, and a near block there for Edmonton. Leake is down around the 27 of the Elks, leading by 5 with the ball back close to midway through this 4th quarter.
Well, here they are again, Rod. You take a look at the close losses for the Edmonton Elks this year, especially those last 2.
Oh, they're devastating with walk-off field goals at the end for the Argos and Ticats. But, you know, starting going back to late July against the Rough Riders when they made a late charge and nearly did it there.
Talked to Mark Killam about it. They've been trying to emphasize the positive and figure out how to finish. Can they do it tonight?
They need to do it tonight. They have the lead. Rankin has the ball, but how about Baldonado has Rankin? Takes him for a loss.
Making the Lazio Marines proud back in Rome, Italy. Getting a start tonight. And he just plays the play, sees the handoff to Rankin and just cuts him off. The Cody Fajardo does not pull him. How about this? Take a look at that. Great tackle. Don't let Rankin get going. You saw what he can do with that speed.
Having a great game tonight is Baldonado. Getting the start. So that's dumped off to Rankin. And after the catch, he somehow finds his way through. And look at the running after the catch by Rankin. And that is enough for a first down on that 2nd and long up across the 40. 14 yards for Rankin.
And that's why you stay with him. That's why no matter how it looks in the first half and how well the opposing defense is controlling the run and controlling number 5, stick with them, stick with them, stick with them. And as fatigue starts to set in a little bit on defenses and you get your blocking timing down, you can cut them loose, and that's what Jordan Maksimic has done. Stuck with Justin Rankin.
Elks have been in this position before many times, but as we just showed you, that trouble sealing the deal. Trying to do it this time. Here's Rankin bouncing off tackles and finally wrestled down there by Roland Milligan after just a couple of yards. Second and long still ahead.
Yeah, the former defensive player of the year said, okay, can we get back to some form tackle here? Let's not let this guy get loose, get outside and use that speed. Because it looked like Rankin was starting to get something going here. And then Roland Milligan just ended that thought.
Under 6 minutes, fourth quarter. 17-12 Edmonton. Across their 40 now. 2nd and 7. It is caught. Victor, and to get to about the 50, he is just about there. If it's not a first down, it would be just a couple of inches away. And a third down could be coming up here for the Elks.
Benjamin Victor out at that wide out spot. And if Cody Fajardo doesn't get this ball out in time to him, Malik Carney has his 8th sack of the year because he was right there.
And they gave him the first down. They're putting it right up at the 50, so the sticks do move. Getting closer to midfield. 5-12 and counting. Cody Fajardo took over the starting quarterback job with Edmonton in Week 8 against the Roughriders. Played against them for the first time, starting against them. That was back in late July. This is the second time. On the ground, Javon Leake, spelling Rankin, picks up a couple of yards.
Well, here's Corey Mace's chance to end this drive. Get him in 2nd and long. Out of field goal range. Keep it a 1-possession game. Well, it'll still be 1 possession of field goal, but if they scored a major, it would go to 2. But 2nd and long, that plays to the defense. What do they got?
Big test Edmonton now. 2nd and 9 from their 51. Backfield clears. 4-man rush. Fajardo rid of it. Julian Grant taken down inside the Rider 50. That's C.J. Rivas there, but not before. Another Edmonton first down.
Cody Fajardo recognizes the coverage quickly. That's the soft spot in the zone defense that Corey Mace decided to go with 4-man pressure.
Timer, can we please reset?
So a timeout for the Saskatchewan Roughriders now with 3:51 on the clock. And their defense, they may as well use the timeout now at this stage of the game, but their defense just trying to keep them in it now as Edmonton gets closer to working their way into scoring range. Take more time off the clock in the process.
When we talked about the close games with Cody Fajardo, he said, you know, we just got to get it to where we have the ball at the end of games to try and finish them.
Painful for him in Toronto.
Yeah, sitting on the bench,
painful.
Watching and not being able to do anything about it.
Seeing the opposing teams work it down, kill the clock, and then kick the winning field goal on the final play. 7th play of the drive. Rankin back in. Play action fake. Deep shot wide open at the 5. Hilaire. 44 yards. Who is marked out of bounds right around the 5. Be a 1st and goal coming up here for Edmonton.
Well, that foot was very close, but this is a bust in the coverage from the Rider secondary for sure. There's no way that Hilaire is supposed to be that wide open along the rail. I'm wondering about the foot, and it looked like it is just in bounds. Now there was an official right on the spot.
And that's a catch.
That left foot was down, clearly in bounds, had the ball. That is a catch. 1st and goal at the 5. Here comes Edmonton. Rankin. 3, 2, 1. Touchdown, Elks. Edmonton finds the end zone again. And I'll say it again. Boy, did they ever need that. Touchdown, Rankin. Again.
Just 2nd effort, 3rd effort, 3-4 tackles broken by Rankin. Spin move. Great recognition to find the bust in the coverage from the Riders secondary to get it to Hilaire down the sideline. Sets up the Rankin touchdown. And the Elks have a 2-possession lead.
Justin Rankin now has 8 rushing touchdowns with 2 today. And with 12 in the year. And a game they have to win. Right now they are winning. A 2-score game. Edmonton in front.
Let's go back to the Hilaire catch. He's going to be down the sideline. It's a straight cover 3 with Roland Milligan and dropping out 3 deep here from the halfbacks. The corners are up tight, so it's not Marcus Sales here. 3 deep, and Milligan is the deep man on the outside third. Stop it there. This is the decoy that draws Milligan up, and he leaves his zone in the deep outside third, and that's where Hilaire is, right down the rail.
That was the only catch so far this game. 1 catch for 44 yards for Odu Hilaire, but a big one it was. And then after that, 1st and goal from the 5. Rankin takes it in for a touchdown. Edmonton with a 12-point lead. 3:35 in the clock. Sean Bain on the return for Saskatchewan. He breaks 1 tackle, gets it up across the 40, but this is time. Edmonton's defense has been so good all game to hold their ground as the Elks are trying to finally hang on in a big game like this and get the victory.
Yeah, to get the major on that drive.
Yeah.
You know, you're thinking about if you kick a field goal, you make it an 8-point game, you can't lose in the next possession. But to score the major now, I mean, Trevor Harris has got to look at 2 majors to come back here. I'm getting better at the math. I'm working on it.
I'm deliberately taking it easy on you on playoff scenarios, although I do have one up my sleeve here. There's Tommy Neal across midfield and pushing his way through.
How many times in your career in the Canadian Football League have you seen 2-possession comebacks in the final 3 minutes?
Well, there's one, they called it, the one that comes to mind is the comeback, Winnipeg and Ottawa.
Yep.
That was 2.5 minutes, 16 points. And when they came back and they forced overtime and ended up winning it. That was
Don't go yet.
Years ago. Here we go.
Don't leave
Deflected.
nice
Beautifully done by J.J. Ross. The chance for a big reception for the Riders instead. It is incomplete at 2nd down and 10 as the 3-minute warning is given. Under 3 minutes. Big minutes for the Edmonton Elks and a big play there. As it was heading Emilis's way. J.J. Ross. It's getting late, not only in this game, but in this season. Week 18 coming up. Saskatchewan heads to the nation's capital. Friday night football. And on Saturday, Hamilton and Toronto. And then Calgary versus BC. And after the Lions win last night and the Stampeders lost, that's for 2nd place in the West. Part 2 of a doubleheader. Starting to show signs of celebration here in Edmonton. To your point, though, in the final 3 minutes, we have seen many teams come back. Daunting looking now for the Riders, but Joel DeBlanco and the tackle and Dante Myers on that quick catch as they move closer in the Edmonton zone. 10 yards, and as I say, the point you're making is certainly in this league not impossible. Yet. Oh no, not in the. You can have a lot happen in the final 3. Harris quickly again to a Joe down around the 31-32 yard line as they work their way a little bit closer, needing a touchdown, and then still be plenty of time down to a 1-score game.
And you know, and now you're in the range where you can almost throw it to the end zone without, you know, the Hail Mary type throw. And you, if they can do it efficiently in the next 2 plays, may be able to kick off deep and not go onside.
Timer, can you please reset the clock to 2:42? 2:42.
So adjusting the timing, and the crowd here at Commonwealth picking up, cheering on these Elks who need to win this game. Just outside the 30 and a 2nd and 5. Harris with time to the right. It's caught. It's a Joe, and it's close to a first down. Very close. Maybe a half a yard shy.
Take a look at the spot, see if they'll. The Riders, this is an important few inches. They're gonna take a look, because not because they can't get it on third down and real short, but because of the time. 20 seconds goes off the clock with a short yardage play. Cuts your chances of the miraculous comeback down substantially, and they are a little short, so they're going to have to do it.
So 3rd and inches. Trevor Harris still on the field.
Now when you're looking at possibilities of a comeback, you're going to waste some time here trying to get it. I mean, going to get the couple of inches, should be able to, but you're looking at onside kick time by the time you get in the end zone, if you can.
A.J. Ouellette in at quarterback for short yardage. Trevor Harris still on the field. Ouellette takes a jump, should have the first down. That one is up across the 25 and should easily be enough to move the sticks and continue a critical drive now for the Rough Riders. Just under 2.5 minutes to go here in the 4th.
Yeah, it was about 35 seconds when that play started. So 8 seconds off the clock for that short yardage play. See if that comes into play here.
So here we go. 1st and 10. Saskatchewan pressing. Deep shot. Down for Emelis and incomplete, and would have been out of bounds anyway, down around the 2. So 2nd and 10 coming up.
Tried to get this throw in there in that corner route on the short side a couple of times here. J.J. Ross made the play about 3 or 4 downs ago, and he was right in the vicinity again, falling off from that corner position.
8th play of the drive coming up. The ball just inside the Edmonton 25. The Riders trailing by 12. In the final minutes, 2:18 on the clock. Harris. The throw. Caught! Touchdown Saskatchewan. Tommy Neal. 25 yards. It's had a quiet game, but a big catch there to get Saskatchewan within a score.
Deep crossing route, lots of time for Trevor Harris. Deep crossing route over the middle from Tommy Neal from the right of your screen. He's going to look off any possible safety help, and he scores. Now we're right in that bubble area. 2 minutes 13 seconds left. Is an onside necessary, or can you kick it deep and still get the ball back in time with the 2-0?
Well, we do have the point after kick good to make it a 5-point game again by Brett Lothar. So this is interesting with 2:13 as you talk about. And now the Riders are going to handle it.
There's Neal, and that trips, and he's the inside receiver. Cordell Jackson got caught. He was in the outside third there, so not really his responsibility, but nice spacing on the throw and the routes. And we've got a 1 possession with plenty of time. So now the strategy is, well, Coach Rod, what do you think? You kicking onside here, or are you going to kick it deep? Rely on your defense to get a 2-0 with what, about a minute to go? Just over a minute, possibly?
Talking about the Saskatchewan Roughriders defense.
You still got a timeout.
I was going to say, my choice, if you're asking me, is kick it deep.
Okay.
Leave it up to your defense. See what they can do.
I think we're on the bubble time-wise. If it's 2:30, 2:40, I'm absolutely kicking it deep. 2:13 is right on that bubble. And Mark Killam's got to put his hands team out there pretty much. I mean, he's going to check about personnel. Both teams will do that.
So let's see what they've decided to do. Lothar.
Looks like they're kicking it deep.
Yeah, the ball at the 30.
Yep.
It is. Put it in the hands of the defense. See if they can get the ball back. Down 5. Javon Lake. And a very good game for the Edmonton defense. It's in the hands of the Elks offense now.
So here we go. You got Justin Rankin with a big second half, and Jordan Maximic, the offensive coordinator, sticking with him after really being invisible in the first half. And he has made a difference in this second half. So it's the #1 defense against the run in the final 2 minutes against Justin Rankin's big second half.
Yep, big difference for Rankin in this second half. You look, first half 17 yards, second half 77 and a couple of touchdowns. They still need him now. Still need that offense. Rankin. And a green and white wall there. He's able to push it through for a couple of yards, setting up second down and about 7 coming up here for Edmonton. 2:01 on the clock.
The Baldonado wall was right in the hole.
the Waldonado.
The Waldonado.
From Italy, as you talked about, and played his college football at the University of Pittsburgh. And you know, he was picked up in the global draft a few years ago. He's been biding his time and certainly getting his chance in this one with the start. Pressure coming, second down, deep shot over the middle for Hilaire. He's got it. Second catch. This one's big too for Hilaire as he gets it down to the Rider 25. 5-point lead, field goal range, 1:36 on the clock, a gain of 42. The other one was 44, and those 2 catches by Hilaire.
There's blitz coming here. Cody Fajardo knows that he's got Hilaire in the slot back, so he's the blitz beater. See C.J. Rivas, Jameer Thurman. It's a man look with the safety Onyeka trying to track down Hilaire, who crosses and then comes back to the ball. Cody Fajardo knows he can't block them all. So he's going to throw it up there and hope his receiver can make the adjustment. That's exactly what he does.
And with that, Cody Fajardo's now passed for over 300 yards, 305. Hilaire. In his first year with the Elks. There's Vincent Blanchard, the kicker. They'd be calling upon him to make it an 8-point game with not much time left, but they want more than that. With what this team has been through, love to answer back with a touchdown. And they are deep. They're down at the 25 now, and they have a 1st and 10. Back to Rankin. And good work there by C.J. Rivas coming in and wrapping him at the legs and taking him down for nothing.
This is a straight man look. That's going to be the matchup. There's one there, there's one here, and there's one here. 2 numbers over on the outside. So this is straight man because of the pressure that Corey Mace is going to go after him. So they're going after Cody Fajardo. Stop it here. So now you've got your man matchup, and that's Onyeka on Hilaire on the deep crosser. That's the blitz beater. But can Cody Fajardo get it out of his hand in time, because he's got free blitzers that he's got to deal with, and he does. Hilaire makes the adjustment on Onyeka.
So nothing there for Rankin on the tackle by Rivas. It's a 2nd and 10 at the Saskatchewan 25, 1:14 and counting. And they give it right back to him. Won't get a first down. It'll be a field goal try coming up. A couple more yards, but a critical field goal too, which would push it to the 1-score limit of 8 points if they can get it.
Right, but still 1 possession.
Still 1 possession.
So we'll see how much time Trevor Harris will get when it's all said and done.
So your point about, you're saying there's a chance about these late game comebacks. We've seen so many of them, and
well,
it'd be a bit of a nail biter for the Elks too.
Exactly. I mean, right now Edmonton is going, they're fighting right now mentally.
Yeah.
Not again. Like, no, don't say that we're going to go to overtime here against the veteran and Trevor Harris. Got to make this first, or else a touchdown beats them, but can take 5 more seconds off the clock.
Blanchard puts it through. So for the 3rd straight game, the Edmonton Elks been in the final minute with the lead. The previous 2 games, it was within field goal scoring for the opposing team, and that's what hurt them. This time it's a bigger lead. It's 8 points.
Well, they're looking at trying to tie, but they need 2 plays. They need
more than 2 plays. They need the big chunk play to get down the field. They need to get the 2-point convert as well to extend this game.
Last 3 possessions for the Edmonton Elks: touchdown, touchdown, field goal.
That's what they talked about in the finishing department. We're in close games. We know we can play with anybody in the league, including the top teams in the standings, i.e. the Roughriders. But now can we finish?
And the offense will sit back and watch. It was painful in Toronto. It was painful in Hamilton last week in the Hall of Fame game. Hoping for something different this time around for Cody Fajardo and Edmonton. Now it's still a huge hill to climb. Even with the victory, there's still a couple of games behind, and odds of making the playoffs not great, but it wouldn't be over. They can hang on to win. Bain on the return and hit hard there. Another global player, that's Alex Wright, coming in and taking him down. It's a fired up bunch and what has been a very emotional day the last couple of days for this Edmonton team.
Okay, 41 seconds. Be interested to see where Sam Emilus is going to line up, where Mark Mueller is going to try and get his speedster receiver in the slot.
There we go, 41 seconds. And that time the Riders need a touchdown and a 2-point convert. Harris complete to Dante Myers, quickly catching it and trying to turn it up. And still shy of a first down.
Got to hustle it up. They're going to blow it in any second. That's when the clock starts on that inside tackle, not going out of bounds. There you go.
Gain of 9, 2nd and 1. 32 seconds. Harris again, short pass. Neal, who had that touchdown earlier, gets the first down, but time is of the essence. 26 seconds, up around the 41.
Well, you still got 5-6 plays, but if you're efficient and use the sideline, and you know that the Elks are going to be dropping to not let anyone behind them.
First down, 20 seconds. Underneath, gets out of bounds. 16 seconds on the clock.
It need at least one chunk play here. Again, you know, I would think that the Elks are going to rotate towards Keyshawn Johnson and Dante Myers into the boundary. That's on the right side right now. Put Emilus on that wide field and take a shot. Maybe get a PI call and get that big chunk play you need. Here's Emilus down here on the bottom.
2nd and 3. 16 seconds on the clock. Riders still in their own zone. Harris stepping up. Deeper throw. Got him. Keyshawn Johnson. Here we go again. Down to the 15. 8 seconds. An excruciating moment, I'm sure, on the Edmonton sideline as Saskatchewan gets close. Quickly over the ball. 8 seconds to go. Quickly down by Harris.
One play.
And they got a one-play shot. 46 yards, that strike from Harris to Keyshawn Johnson.
In the slot. And it looked like Cordell Jackson on that little shuffle of the feet from Keyshawn Johnson just froze him for a split second. And in this scenario, the one rule for the defensive backfield, don't let anybody in behind you. Everything has to be in front. You rally to make the tackle. Don't give them that opportunity to get in behind you on a deep throw. And now Trevor Harris from the 16-yard line can throw it to the end zone in a regular play coming out of the playbook.
Can the Riders find the end zone? Can the Elks hang on after the heartbreak they had in Southern Ontario?
Here they come.
Pressure coming. Flag is out.
Free play.
And a free play Saskatchewan to Johnson down at the 1 with 1 second to go in the clock. 15 yards. Harris.
Who was offside?
Edmonton offside. So made that throw knowing he had a free one and got it down close. So here we go. One play for Saskatchewan. And it's Tommy Stevens.
Edmonton number 20. That penalty's declined. Ball's on the 1 yard line. There's 1 second left.
Need 2 plays. This one and one more.
Mark Killam calls a timeout, but
Timeout, Edmonton.
given everything that they have been through on the field here, the loss in Toronto 2 weeks ago when they led in the final minute, and the loss to Hamilton the same way, the Ticats picking up the field goal. And Larry Thompson dealing with the emotions, of course, of the owner of the franchise passing away a couple of days ago.
Just a half roll, and Tyrell Ford just a little late out at the 1 with 1 second to go. So they need to finish this with Tommy Stevens, but they need the 2-point convert, obviously.
That's the other part of it. They need the touchdown. They also need the 2. First things first. 1 second on the clock. Tommy Stevens, short yardage specialist, dives, has the touchdown. Saskatchewan gets into the end zone in a dramatic drive in the final minute, and now they are a 2-point conversion away from tying this game and forcing overtime.
I'll tell you one thing, lots of debate and back and forth on the new rules that have been discussed over the last week. Let's not ever mess with the final 3 minutes in the timing. Down 2 possessions in our game. The timing is such that you can come back. It all comes down to a 2-point convert. See if we can extend it.
Incredible drama here. You're right. 7 plays, 81 yards. Here we go. 2-pointer to tie the score and force overtime. Harris. End zone. No! Edmonton wins. For all they've been through, the Elks do indeed hang on. And that one, no doubt, is for them, but it is certainly for Larry Thompson. The Edmonton Elks knew they had to win. And it was as close as it could possibly come down to the final 2-point try. But Mark Killam can celebrate a victory.
Boy, the 2-point convert for Saskatchewan just looked like a communication issue. The timing is not important there anymore. The 2-point convert's going to be played, and it looked like a Joe either ran the wrong route or Trevor Harris threw it to the wrong spot. Either way, you're right. The Edmonton Elks, through all they've gone through, keep their playoff hopes alive, and you have to believe they just won one for Larry.
That's what Mark Killam wants. He just wants them to keep believing. And Larry Thompson's family, and such a difficult week. Our condolences and his passing, the owner of the Edmonton Elks, a couple of days ago. Look at Mark Killam, too. Wanted to contain his emotions, he was telling us earlier this week, and be more calm and composed. How do you be calm and composed at a game like this and an ending like this? And this time he can smile. And the fire truck makes you think of Larry Thompson and the celebration. And Cody Fajardo too. And we had talked about how excruciating it was for him, helplessly sitting and watching as the opposing teams the last 2 weeks came back and won it on the last-second field goal. I'm sure it was pretty dramatic for him again this time around as Trevor Harris and that offense came back and made it so interesting. Edmonton Elks improve to 6-9. And there's still, well, remote chances at a playoff spot, but they do still have them. A couple of games behind Winnipeg and BC. And as for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, they have now lost back-to-back games for the first time this season, but still on top of the West. What a finish! Celebrating at Commonwealth of the Elks. Thanks for watching. SportsCenter is next.
Come on. on in. Welcome to SportsCenter. Jermaine Franklin, Laura Dykin here with you. And what a finish to that Elks-Riders game. Just outstanding, and they did it, obviously, for Larry Thompson. And we'll get to that in just a moment, but we have to start with the Blue Jays, Laura. The magic number coming into Saturday was 2.